Fulgencio Obelmejias, and that bout is coming up in a moment. Marvin, how difficult was it for you to prepare for Obelmejias, a guy that you had already beaten? That was in Boston back in January of '81. You stopped him in round 8.
Well, I'm very glad that I trained very hard for him. I was trying to put a strategy together, trying to figure out what would he do different in this fight. And the only alternative that we've seen was that by him trying to outbox me. And, you know, I'm just as great as a boxer as they say I'm a slugger, boxer puncher. So I think that our strategy worked very good. After 2 rounds or so, I took his legs away from him and made him fight. And I figured he would come back into his old strategy.
Marv, how hard was it to get up for a fight at 3 o'clock in the morning? I know we took Ali over to Africa, and we had a terrible time getting him to sleep during the day so he would be fresh. Did you have that trouble?
Yes, that's the toughest thing, but everything was an experience to me, something new in my boxing career, and I'm glad that's all over.
You don't want to fight at 3 in the morning
Not
anymore.
at 3 in the morning
We'll cancel the Africa fight.
Oh, jeez, I know what Ali went through.
We'll be talking more with marvelous Marvin Hagler after we take a look at what took place in the ring in San Remo last week as Marvin gets a first look at the bout. Fulgencio Obelmejias, 38-1, 36 by knockout. Most of his fights have taken place in Caracas, Venezuela, and Mexico. His last bout, August the 2nd, 8th round knockout of Willie Torres. Marvin Hagler, in his last fight, last March, knocked out Caveman Lee in a 67-second blowout. So this is his first bout since then. He fractured a rib in training this past June.
Hagler's not had the greatest amount of luck business-wise in his career, because just when he is on track as a great champion, cracking up to be a great champion, everything happens to him. He cracks a rib, fights fall through. Now he's got to fight Obelmejias first before he can get to the big money shots. So Hagler's anxious to get started. He wants action. He wants to fight every 3 or 4 months. He wants to get to the big paydays he thinks have been eluding him, and they have.
Hagler was bothered by Obelmejias' attitude toward him at the weigh-in. Obelmejias making excuses about that previous meeting and claiming that he will get Hagler this time. This is round 1.
Obelmejias much taller. It didn't help him last time with a greater reach. Last time he was not able to follow Hagler's style. That's good action by Obelmejias, who's certainly not showing a great deal of respect for Hagler right off the bat.
Obelmejias fought Hagler for the title back in January 1981 in Boston. Knocked out in the 8th round. Since then, he's won 10 straight, all by knockout, but impossible to get a feel for the quality of his opponents.
And that's a difficulty that the World Boxing Organizations run into. You get these guys that fight just in their hometown in South America, in Korea, or in Japan, and they become rated on the basis of 31-0, 40-0, but you don't know what their opponents are like. They come over, they face a Hagler, and they're wiped out as they were last time. Now, how does that entitle them to a title match? I don't know.
And just under a minute left in this first round.
For example, would you have felt much better, Marv, if you had seen him fight Animal Fletcher or Green or one of the contenders, Mustafa Hamsho? If he could beat them, then he deserves a title shot with Hagler.
And for Marvin Hagler, it will be most interesting to observe, and he will be on hand for the Sugar Ray Leonard announcement next Tuesday to see what lies in the future of Leonard. The other possibilities for Hagler are Tony Simpson and Frank the Animal Fletcher.
Low blow by Obelmejias. Obelmejias winning this round by surprise. Certainly Hagler didn't steam out to put him away like people thought he would.
Strictly feeling out. First round for the champion, Marvin Hagler. And this is round 2. Marvin Hagler defending his middleweight title for the 4th time. He won it with a 5th round knockout of Alan Minter in London in September of 1980. Very quiet setting here. San Remo, Italy, on the Italian Riviera, and this the stage of a movie theater in downtown San Remo, the Ariston Theater. It's almost like a tennis crowd.
Oh, slipped by Obelmejias, slipped on some water. The crowd is curiously quiet. Another thing, did you notice? Look at the ringside seats there, almost at the same level with the ring. The ring is not up 4 or 5 feet the way it usually is, 3 or 4 feet, but they are almost on the same level. You can see the people standing. It almost feels like you're in a gym someplace just watching a fight. You see right off the bat Bob Arum and his lovely wife Sybil sitting ringside, the promoter that promoted this fight.
And a minute gone by in the second round. Hagler 55-2 with 2 draws. Began his professional career back in 1973. 46 of the 55 wins by knockout, and only recently beginning to get his due.
Almost late in his career, but he can certainly make gold while the sun shines for the next 2 years, because he's got great opponents lined up. He next has to fight Simpson, and in a mandatory, Tony Simpson from England, and then follow it with Animal Fletcher if they can make that fight come true.
Left hand by Hagler. It has been non-action the first couple of rounds. Now Obelmejias able to land to the butt and to the head.
Going with the uppercut. And then hooking after the uppercut. That's been his plan. Hagler absolutely unmoved.
Hagler had trained with great enthusiasm for this fight. First at the Cape Cod, and the last 10 days here in San Remo. He had 9 different sparring partners for the fight.
Obelmejias taking this second round as well, based on his aggressiveness and the way he's landing his punches right on the mark. The uppercut working for him. Hagler seems very unruffled by it all.
That southpaw style of Hagler, very difficult to face. And Hagler coming alive as we go final seconds. Round 2. And this is round 3. Marvelous Marvin Hagler, WBC and WBA middleweight champion, and Fulgencio Obelmejias.
His corner said, take everything calmly. You've taken the first 2 rounds. Keep boxing. He said, he looks like you're a little tied up, and he said, I feel cold. I don't know what that could mean. He took the first 2 rounds, and he looks like he's warming up.
Obelmejias says he was not in proper condition the last time that he fought Hagler. Says he was suffering from a bad hand and a severe head cold.
You know, I just don't believe those things. I've been around boxing for 20 years. When a guy loses, he's got the greatest collection of excuses. I once just made a book of excuses when you lose. When you win, you can win with a broken hand, with pneumonia. If you win, you never mention it. Slight drizzle from the nose, and you've got big excuses.
Well, the Boston climate through, right?
Yeah, the Boston climate in the left hand of Hagler threw him.
Also, when a boxer loses by decision, it's always a controversial decision.
It's the hardest thing to teach a boxer, not to complain about losses, not to look for excuses, just to say, well, that was not my day and mine's coming.
Combination by Hagler, but Obelmejias has won the first 2 rounds.
He has. Hagler has not really revealed the marvelous Marvin technique that we've seen so far.
There's the left hand getting in on Obelmejias.
Now he's starting to punch a lot harder. Look at the zip in Marvin's punches now.
Obelmejias with an error. He turned his back on Hagler and nearly cost.
I think he just noticed that there was a different Hagler in front of him. He just got 2 zipping punches instead of the usual pity-patting that Hagler was doing through the first 2 rounds. He said to himself, uh-oh, this is how I remember it last time. It wasn't too nice. Now Marvin's starting to really chase.
And we're less than a minute left in this 3rd round. Marv Albert and the fight doctor, Ferdy Pacheco. Hagler and Obelmejias meeting in San Remo, Italy.
I'd still like to see Obelmejias come over here and fight the regular top 10 middleweights and see how he would do. Because right now, he's starting to get taken to the cleaners by Hagler. Hagler's just starting to fight the range, and he's just starting to put in real bombs. Both fighters, incidentally, have been hitting low throughout the fight, and the Mexican referee has not commented either one way or the other.
Combinations by Obelmejias, but just grazing Hagler, they have had no effect. Fulgencio Obelmejias out of Caracas, Venezuela, taking a second shot at the champion, Marvin Hagler. Final seconds, round 3. And this is round 4, scoring on the 10-point must. The referee, Ernesto Magana out of Mexico City. Obelmejias taking the first 2 rounds. Hagler coming back in round 3 and now beginning to look sharp.
Yes, he's beginning to look like he's into it now. Before it was just sort of feeling him out. Oh,
left hand by Hagler.
Obelmejias says wasn't anything, but it was right on the button.
The right hook of Hagler is his most devastating punch. We have not seen any signs of it to this point.
It looks to me like it's going to be the year of Hagler coming up. The opponents are really good now. First-rate opponents. Each fight is meaningful, and there's a crop coming up of 5 middleweights at least that I can think of off the top of my head, who a year down the road will furnish magnificent opposition for Hagler. Hagler looks like he's got his future cut out for him if he can win each fight.
And it is Hagler now on the attack. He has Obelmejias backing away. Right hand by Obelmejias getting in, and here's Hagler right back.
A nice uppercut to the body. Obelmejias is putting a nice hook to the head by Obelmejias, but he doesn't look like he's willing to stand and fight with Hagler. Looks like he's giving ground a little too eagerly.
And we are midway, round 4.
Hagler, the type of fighter that if he senses there's a little fear or a little trepidation, if he senses that the flow is going his way, he really takes advantage. He comes on like a bad flood. He just goes right over you. Certainly he's fighting with a lot more enthusiasm right now. He looks like he's coming on much. Oh, good hook by Hagler.
Neither fighter has been cut, no knockdowns. Under a minute left of this 4th round as Hagler defends for the 4th time and doubling up on that left hook. And they have hurt Obelmejias.
Look at all the low blows here. Now you can see why Obelmejias is not anxious to stand and trade with him, because in close, Hagler is devastated. Look at those hooks that Hagler puts in there.
Yes, Marvelous Marvin going to work in this 4th round, landing with combinations. 15 seconds remaining in the round. Best action of the bout. Another solid round for the champion, Marvin Hagler. Along with co-managers Pat and Goody Petronelli. Marvin, quick impression. Anything look different to you?
Well, I thought it was a very aggressive and more harder punches thrown in this fight than what it was the first time.
As you look at it.
As I'm looking at it.
On tape.
But it still was a very good fight.
Yeah, I thought you might say that. All right, we'll be back with more. Round 5. And this is round 5. Obelmejias taking the first 2 rounds of the bout, but Hagler the last 2. And Hagler looking very confident. Combination by Hagler. And he has Obelmejias just backing away, wants no part of him.
Obelmejias is very tentative now, almost a lot of trepidation in his moves. He's making the moves of a guy that's getting hit hard and doesn't want it anymore. He's moving back real fast, trying to tie Marvin up. Hagler coming on with his style. That style that says, if you're the least bit scared of me, I'm going to eat you up. Whoa, what a punch. That's the kind that tears shoulder muscles when you miss that kind of a sweeping hook by Marvin Hagler.
Minute gone by in round 5, and again for a series of low blows, this time thrown by Hagler.
Marvin has really come in with the low blows. Opponent's very tall. He wears his trunks high, but they've both been doing that.
Left hook by Obelmejias.
He's got to throw something, or else Marvin will just run him right out of San Remo. If he doesn't throw something, Marvin will run him right out of the auditorium.
Break. No agarre, Obel. Fuera. Break. Stop.
And a rare break. Ernesto Magana, the referee, who has had very little to do, will seem to ignore some of the low blows earlier in the bout.
Wonder what it feels like to have Marvin Hagler's head put in your face. Must feel like a grapefruit rubbing up there.
Hagler going to the body effectively. Under a minute left in this 5th round. Uppercut Hagler.
Oh, Obel better get off those ropes.
Watch your head.
Watch your head, says Magana to Hagler.
Finally.
Right hand by Hagler. Another right. Combination by Hagler. And down goes Obelmejias. Marvin Hagler in command throughout the 5th round. He took over the fight in round 3, and Obelmejias not able to get up. That's it. And Hagler has successfully defended his middleweight title with a 5th round knockout of Fulgencio Obelmejias.
Clean shots by Marvin Hagler. When Obel stayed on those ropes, he was inviting it, and Hagler knows how to take advantage when he's got a man in trouble. And he just went right to work, and as you saw, Obelmejias just could not get up.
So Marvin Hagler from Newark, New Jersey, now living in Brockton, Massachusetts, taking out Fulgencio Obelmejias. The official time, 2 minutes, 25 seconds of round 5, and he did it with the right hook on the jaw.
And every kind of punch that you can think of in the arsenal of a boxer before that hook. I think Obel was just about knocked out when he got into that rope stance and wouldn't get off. Let's watch it and count the punches as Hagler just accumulates, just one after the other after the other. Obel backing off. Oh, that was a devastating hook. Devastating right hook. Caught him going back, off balance, right on the point of the chin, and he is out.
So next for Marvin Hagler to see what the decision is from Sugar Ray Leonard at the press conference in Baltimore next Tuesday. All right, Marvin, you mentioned earlier you feel at that press conference in Baltimore, you feel that Sugar Ray Leonard will announce his retirement, but then some 6-7 months later, you look for Leonard to come out of retirement. What then would be next for you if Leonard does do what you think he will?
Right now, I'm just going to basically concentrate on my own division, which I worked so hard to get on top. And I'm going to take on the Frankie, the Animal Fletchers, and the Simpson, whatever. I'm not going to wait for that big payday, which might never come. You know, by that time, I think I have gray hair and whatever. But on two sides of it, I really like to see Sugar Ray come out and fight me. Because I feel as though, like I always did, it would be the fight of the century. And on second hand, I like to see him do something other than any other black person in our race have done, retire with all the great pride and admiration that he deserves.
How do you feel about, we have a good barn burner fight coming up on the 20th. We've got this young kid, Ches, fighting a guy that you had a lot of trouble with. Mustafa Hamsho gave you 10 rounds of all you could take. How would you feel about the winner of that fight?
Oh, I'm hoping to be here to watch that fight because I feel it's going to be a very exciting fight. They both have almost the same type of style. It should be very interesting to the public.
How would you like to fight either one of them?
Well, I've already went through Mustafa. I don't think he wants to come back this way.
That was a brawl. Marvin, thank you very much for spending
my pleasure, and thank you for NBC for inviting me here.
Okay, the marvelous one, Marvin Hagler, and NBC Sports Special is Pennsylvania Dutch country, where the horse and buggy mode of transportation is still in evidence. And we are at the Americana Host Farm Resort, and we're getting set for boxing. Hi, everybody.